Welcome to Both Sides Now, featuring the unconventional duo, Dr. Shirley and medium Kelly White. Two perspectives, one world. This is Both Sides Now.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Both Sides Now. I'm Dr. Shirley.
Hi, everybody. I'm spiritual medium Kelly White, and I'm here tonight with
Of
Shirley and John.
course, John is
Yay!
always here
Good
to
to have
help us
you back.
out.
Good to have you back, Shirley.
Thank you so much. I've been away for a little bit.
You took an extended vacation
Right.
from the show. I know
Not
you're
from the
asked.
show, not planning
Yeah.
on it. I didn't get to go on vacation as
Yeah.
anyone is, which we're going to talk about. I love the background.
Thank you.
I thought it kind of went with your place
Yes.
because I know you love Buddhas. You're a big
I
Buddha
absolutely
person.
look at the two behind me.
Hmm.
I absolutely love Buddhas. It calms me down, calms my nervous system.
Well, we're going to be talking about things that calm down a nervous system today,
Yes,
actually.
because we're living in a time where the nervous system is not calm.
Yes. Oh, thanks, Tracy. Tracy says, thanks, Shirley and John, for Saturday.
Mhm.
So let's just mention that. We did an event called Bad Moms.
Yeah.
And it's actually you can actually purchase it now on
Yep.
our webinar site
Yeah.
on bothsidesnowtv.com. And Shirley, that was really something, wasn't it?
It was a difficult topic, but I think so necessary for people to understand. Again, it's never about blaming, but it's to understand
Mhm.
where we come from and why we do what we do and think the way we think. And, the brain develops between 0 and 5, and who are we mostly with? It's usually our parents. It's the environment too, of course. And so whatever was going on in that environment is what kind of forms imprints and plants the seeds. So it was I've gotten such wonderful feedback about it, where
Yeah.
people were going, oh, I get it now. And that's how I felt the first time that I, learned about all this stuff and attachment and how our parents attuned to us and responded to us and how important that was. We are going to do a fathers, bad fathers
Bad dads.
one soon. We're choosing dates on it now, but I was really glad to hear
Me too.
that it was helpful to people. So thank you so much for your feedback.
Yeah, that was terrific. Wow.
Yeah.
So that was quite an event. And
Tell us,
Thank you to
Kel,
James
about
for that
what was
forgiveness
it? John?
meditation. I was saying thank you to James for the
Yeah.
forgiveness meditation.
Oh my
Spending time with
goodness.
this. Yeah.
yeah,
That was a beautiful meditation to kind of, realize at the end of this, of what we talked about, to realize what we came here to learn.
Mm-hmm.
and there was a forgiveness piece with that, and it was very profound and very moving, and it put people back together again, and
Yeah.
it was a really interesting, good day.
Ardelia wants us to do bad siblings.
Oh wait, okay, Ardelia, who's in Australia right now. Remember
Yeah.
Shirley, the gal from Australia?
Yes. Hi.
Okay.
It's so good to see you
I
again.
completely agree with that, Ardelia. So we'll do bad dads next, and then we're going to do bad siblings because
You know
I have a
what?
lot to say.
Well,
I have a
you
lot
know
to say
what?
on both of those.
Well, we all do. That's why we're in it. And that's why we do what we do, right? We chose this profession. I mean, everybody has a reason why they choose the profession they choose. But it's interesting because research shows that many times sibling can cause the same or as bad as or worse effects on your psyche than parents. So thank you for that suggestion. We will definitely
Oh, it's
do
a
something on
must.
that.
I
Yes.
can't believe we missed that. Probably because I just couldn't take anymore, to be honest. The bad moms, the bad dads, I can't hear anymore.
Right.
I can't
But
process it.
again, it's the environment we live in.
Yeah.
From 0 to 5, and that plants the seeds, and then later on experiences kind of scaffold on top of that, on top of
Yeah.
that foundation. It doesn't mean we can't change it. The brain is plastic. We always can rewire the brain, but that builds the foundation.
Right. Well, I love what Ardelia says. She says, I always thought that to forgive was to accept the way you were treated. But I've learned that's not the case. No.
Mhm.
Wow.
To forgive is kind of a way to say, I'm not going to continue to carry this with me.
Right.
I'm not going to continue to let it affect me. But it's a process. It's not about just forgiving and, I forgive. It requires validating your own pain, validating your anger, validating your disappointment in order then to get to that other side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we will do. Bad siblings will be after Bad Dads
whole
on the
bad
hit parade.
series.
The whole bad series.
Yeah.
Bad. Well,
exactly.
I guess we could just keep going with that. Bad stepmothers, bad stepfathers. I guess you could just keep
Completely.
going.
We're gonna call it bad people and just
Bad
have
people,
Yeah. Yeah.
bad friends, bad. I mean, you could
Lord.
just keep going. I don't know why that cracks me up, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah,
Well,
it's true.
oh my
Yeah.
God.
Well,
Well,
hopefully
let's.
the point
Okay.
about the parents are the root cause of the sibling issues. So,
Yeah. Well, they are
Yeah.
because if an older sibling, it feels so much safer to take out your anger on the younger sibling. You can't do it on the parents because they're supposed to keep you alive. So that's much too threatening and much too scary. You take it out on, which isn't great. But again, as
I don't know.
speaking from the younger sibling
Yeah.
place.
No. And I'm speaking from the older sibling. No. So we'll have this will be a fabulous
Well,
show.
but the younger sibling took it out on the older, or was mean to the older siblings or the younger siblings if they were a middle child because they weren't getting it. So it's
Oh, I
what
see
you're
what you're
not
saying.
getting from your parents.
Yeah.
But then you take it out on the siblings because it's a safer place to take it out on.
but that is a great show topic you just brought up about sibling order. So we were going to do a show on that. So maybe we should visit that again.
Yeah, we
Birth
definitely
order,
need to do
sibling
it.
order.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Definitely need
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about.
So tell us, Kel, about, as I say every week, the clusterfuck.
What's going on right now?
That is, yes. that is-
Well-
the shit has hit the fan.
Oh, it hit. It
telling you.
hit. Well, it's so amazing. We have 2 hurricanes. Like I don't think this has ever happened before, barreling down at the same time in the same area in the south. So
How
I
is
mean-
that even possible?
I'm not a weather person. I really don't know, but all I know is that astrologically, we've never seen this kind of these kind of planets before ever, and so it really does tie into our topic tonight, which is I know the name people don't like the name the new normal, or we'll call it the
New world.
new world, the way we are now, what's going on now. I don't know, whatever you want to call it, but
Yeah.
right now and today is begins a series of Mars and squaring Saturn. It begins a series of this, and it lasts between now through December of this year, all the way through December. Now, normally when
Mm.
a planet squares another one, it's usually like 2 or 3 days, maybe. This continues within 2 or 3 degrees of each other for months. Okay. And this is Mars, which is the planet of war. It's intense. It's a renegade. It wants its own way. And it's in its own house of Aries. It's in its own sign, which makes it very, very strong and very much get out of my way. I'm going to do things my way. And I'm a renegade. And I'm fierce and I've got intense energy. And it's completely squaring off with Saturn. And Saturn is tradition. It's so challenged because Saturn is slow, where Mars is fast. Saturn is slow. It's boundaried. It's restrictive. It's karma. It's in Capricorn, its own sign. And the two of them squaring off like that today is a very powerful, powerful day. I'm sure people felt the energy. I mean, I actually got mad at my dog today. I actually squared off with my dog this morning. I'm not kidding you.
That's very funny.
He wouldn't get in the car, so I went over to him and I said, Otis, that's enough. And I
have to say,
moved him into my car.
your dog's kind of a prick.
Yeah, he can be. Oh, I call him
I hate to
Otis.
say that about a dog.
No, I call him Otis, stranger than POTUS. I mean, he is
Well,
He is
maybe this
something
will
else.
help.
Oh, that's hilarious.
This is
That's
coming
true.
up. If you guys haven't signed up for it, be sure to get this because it's coming up on Thursday. And we got our wonderful resident animal communicator, Tammy Hendricks, going to be speaking on the 3rd week of the workshop. So
She's
get
terrific.
your tickets.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, she is great. It's funny. I had a friend one time had a reading, and he came from very abusive parents, didn't have a lot of, but he had a whole bunch of animals around him. In fact, he once adopted a skunk that he found in the road. He lived in the country
gosh.
somewhere. And when he had a reading, the medium said, yeah, there's not a lot of people here, but boy, there's a ton of animals here. There's even a skunk. So
Yeah, they can pick up a lot.
connections. Oh yeah.
Oh boy. Well, anyway, during this time, it's like it's a severe time. This is a very serious time. I want everybody to take caution. This is not a time to make decisions. For instance, if you are in a bad marriage or a bad relationship or a bad whatever, it's not really the time to go, I think I'm going to get out now. You might really want to think about this and think about this for some period of time, because these aspects are it's going to be very intense. And I think I would wait on making any type of big ticket decision right now. Just would. There's another square too. It's going to square directly on again on September 29th, and then again on January 13th. But all along, it's going to be squaring by 2 or 3 degrees anyway. So it's going to feel like this is one giant event that's about ready to happen, and it's really almost impossible to kind of parcel it out. But there will be some major events that come through because of this. So the choices that you make now, and the actions that you take are going to be really critical for the next 3 months. So you really want to think, and even if you think, I don't even know if it's a good time to make a decision on anything, because it's going to be a very heated time, very heated time, and Saturn is very pessimistic, and and Mars is really hot-headed, and it's going to be very intense, and that starts this week. Just going to be intense. In fact, relinquish any idea of control right now, because if you can embrace a go with the flow attitude, that probably would be better for you if anybody could do that. And on September 9th, Mars goes retrograde in its own sign of Aries, and that's going to be even more intense. So every day is going to be intense. Every day is going to be intense through like February. I'm so sorry to say that, but every day is going to be intense.
And 2020, the year of intensity.
It's a year of intensity.
In fact, I think my air just stopped. So while you're giving us the update, I'll be right back, because otherwise I'm going to melt. I'll be right back.
Oh my God, this is exactly what happened with James today, wasn't it?
I am right on the button today.
I don't even know what to say, but poor John. This happened today during James's soul care. And then he put everybody on hold to do a meditation. That was pretty funny.
It's the antithesis of living in the moment. That is for sure.
It sure is.
Living in the exact moment.
Oh my gosh.
And that was the point that he was trying to get across, was that, and just as you are about rolling with it, just being in the moment and rolling with it, because it's just rolling with it. You never know what curveball can be thrown your way.
You're absolutely right. And this is a time for curveballs. I mean, it's really funny, Shirley. James had the same kind of a situation on his show today. So he just got up and had to leave and came back.
Kidding. Just came back. Sometimes you do what you got to do. But I noticed a message you put up there, John. Jessica saying, am I broken? Because she was having actually a good time. You're never broken when you're having a good time, when everything is supposed to go to hell in a handbag. So Jessica, enjoy it.
I'd love to see what your chart is, Jessica. That's fantastic.
At least let us know your birth date. Yeah. So look it up. But it's really interesting.
Right. But it's really interesting too. I've been I have to take 36 units to re-get my license again every 2 years, as we all do. Anybody with a license has to take a lot of continuing education classes. So I decided to take one with like 11 therapists. It was really interesting. Each one talking about COVID and the pandemic and what their life is like now, and working with their patients and their clients. And it was so interesting, Shirley. I took this today, and they all said the same thing in different ways, which is, we are also having our own experiences going through a very difficult time. And it was pretty profound, because if you're looking for somebody for a great answer to do this or to do that, or how do we, maintain during this great time of change, I thought it was really interesting that they all kind of had pretty much, everybody's going through their own situation. But what I really wanted to start with is, I have a client, and then we'll talk about the different things, Shirley, but I have a client that it was so great. She said to me, I have pandemic fatigue. And so if anybody feels this way, I wanted to tell you it's a client that I've known for 11 years. She's very bright. There's no nonsense. She's very kind. And she said, I feel I have this pandemic fatigue. I'm tired all the time. I'm tired all the time. I mean, talking about, the new normal here for her and for all of us. She said, I'm extra careful all of the time. I'm extra careful. I said, what do you mean by extra careful? She said, well, if I go to the store, I have to really, think first. I have to really think. I have to be mindful of every single thing. I have to have a mask. I have to have gloves. I have to wait until there's not too many people in there. I have to think first. She said, I'm home and I feel isolated.
Mm.
She said, I live with family members all of the time. And she said, I do so much cooking now that sometimes I go blank in the mind, blank in the head when I have to go think of something I have to cook. And then she's in Los Angeles, and you guys have been having a major heat wave. And she said, I really can't go outside much because I'm having a heat wave.
Yeah.
She said, it's hard to accept this. I'm having a hard time accepting this life. She said, it's very difficult because I thought at first that it was temporary. And as it's going on, I'm feeling a little more helpless and a little more helpless, actually. She said, asked me, when is this going to end? Is this our life? I feel that this is out of a futuristic movie. She said, I feel uncertainty. She said, I have decision fatigue from having to decide, what am I going to do? What am I not going to do? She said, small decisions seem large for her.
Yeah.
She said, among family members, we have different opinions. There's tension in the household. I now can't trust my own family members. And so if one goes out for dinner or they go out to meet somebody, I make a note on my calendar to tell me when 2 weeks will go by so that she can think, okay, now I'm okay. She said, and her whole thing is about safety because she has a compromised immune system. She said, I'm in a low level depression. And I thought that was a good way to describe how a lot of people are feeling right now.
Absolutely.
Has this been the case with you and your patients, Shirley?
Oh yeah, absolutely. As it continues, it's so taken everyone out of their routine, and we are creatures of habit. That's what, it's the predictability. The brain is an anticipatory organ, so it predicts the future based on past events, and nothing is predictable right now, and so it's really adding to the fear and the change in routine. And I think we all have this kind of expectation that, okay, we'll be able to go back to what we felt was our normal life, and when that continues to not be the case, then it just really adds to it. And I think that term, pandemic fatigue, is so right on.
Right. I in this class that I took today, one of the therapists coined the term, and I loved this, primitive agony. And he said, this is the feeling that whatever we're feeling now in our system, in our nervous system, whatever we're feeling may have actually happened to us a long, long time ago. And this pandemic is bringing this up. Primitive agony. And he said, this could have even begun in the womb if our mothers were anxious or the fathers were anxious or anything that you're not feeling safe with.
Yeah.
And so some people, and it's funny because not everybody has the same nervous system. So in a household, one person may be in a different state of mind than another person.
Yeah.
And that's going to cause all kinds of issues
The
in a
most
family.
important thing now is to over communicate. Don't stay with an assumption that you're making without checking out the assumption. Sound like, for those, I'm going to age myself, but remember Stuart Smalley, the character on Saturday Night Live? I love that character because he was just so precise. I'm good enough. I'm,
Right.
and so become Stuart Smalley's. Talk about everything. When you said this, did you mean that? Check out your assumptions. Don't stay with them, particularly when you're,
Right.
when you're, I'm going to say forced to live with people, when you're spending so much more time with people in your environment,
Right.
that you can either actually bond, or these are the experiences that will either cause a more connection and intense bonding, or throw a wedge in, and feel even more isolated,
Right.
even with you're living with people. So it's over communicate.
And
Check
if you need a
everything
good
out.
laugh, definitely check out Stuart Smalley Saves His Family. That's what Shirley's referring to from Saturday Night Live. It's a hilarious movie, and we all need to laugh during this time. But what I was reading too about all of this is that, natural disasters are short term, and pandemics are stretched out indefinitely. So there's something going on with adrenal fatigue too, with us all being on a high state of alert, right? So
it's a high state of alert on a day-to-day, and it's a high state of alert kind of because our parent, which is the person who heads the country, we don't feel, whether it's not a political thing, but whether you agree with what he's doing or not, we don't feel taken care of. So it's a collective anxiety because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also an individual anxiety because of what's happening, just our own day-to-day, like your client, Kelly, where I don't know if someone's going to go out and bring it back in. I don't know if I'm going to, so we're living in a state of anxiety, a state of fear already. And then it just gets bigger.
Right. And irritability right now is going to increase
Oh yeah.
because the low everything, the threshold for emotions is lower.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because everything is so on the surface,
Yeah, it was interesting too. In this class, they talked about neuroception. And so neuroception, I thought this was in it. You probably know, I'm
You're
sure you know
speaking
this.
my language,
I
Kel.
know. See, this is not my language, but I thought it was really, really interesting. I see why you're interested in this. But neuroception is the background of our nervous system that we're not even aware of. We're not even aware of how we're feeling often. And we can go into, they had 3 ways, Shirley, and if you want to explain those, I thought it was so interesting. The ventral, starting with the top one, of if you can just figure out what you're feeling right now, kind of in the background, like your body might be in a high alert state, it may be in a low state, it might be in a medium state, wherever it is. And am I saying this right, Shirley? The ventral state?
Well, it's the vagus nerve is the nerve that connects the brain to all the viscera and all the organs and everything. And so there's the ventral vagal is, we're either kind of in a frozen state, we don't notice it. Neuroception is kind of really tuning in to see how we're feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And what we talked about in this class was so interesting to me, was that the ventral state was you're aware, become very aware. You're aware of what it is, and you can handle, you've got a system that can handle a lot. You've got a system that your nervous system can handle it.
That awareness gives it time, becoming aware slows things down and gives us enough time to kind of be with what is. And if there's a state of anxiety, it gives it enough time for the anxiety to complete and to process, instead of, tightening up because we feel anxious and we don't even know it. Anxiety is fear.
And the sympathetic state would be unsafe, feeling unsafe.
The sympathetic nervous system is fight or flight. The parasympathetic nervous system is when we're calm and we can relax and, digest food and that. So if we're stuck in a sympathetic state, that fight or flight, then eventually we'll have issues, gastrointestinal issues, and we'll have, because the body isn't going from calm to high alert to middle alert to low alert to, rest and calm and stuff. It's not working that way. So it's so important to tune in and see where you're at.
And then the dorsal, which is almost a despair, like a hopelessness or a despair.
Yeah, that can be the frozen state.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you might want to check with yourself to see where you are, because during the day, like I may be in a sympathetic state, or I might just be in a ventral state. Often I am, and I think I go back and forth between, depending on how my day is, but never assume that somebody else you know is in the same state that you are in, especially right now with COVID. You don't know, because you don't know what's triggered with them. And there are people that are losing their jobs. There's people that are not sure how they're going to live. It's a very stressful time for people.
Yeah, very stressful.
Mm.
And then add to that disagreements about, just how it's being handled, how each individual feels safe. There's a wonderful thing. I'm going to send it to you, John, so you can maybe post it. A friend of mine sent me, it's this doctor, I think he's Australian, but he's immunodiseases, but he teaches at Dartmouth. And he has a blog. And he wrote this really interesting way of how you contract the virus. So how many units of the virus you need to ingest in order to, and he talks about how when you're sitting at dinner and talking, how far it gets projected. If you're yelling, it gets projected further. And that's why inside is more dangerous than outside, because outside the wind is blowing. So even you could be a carrier and we're talking, but the wind is blowing it away. And so it's less likely to get inside of me,
Yeah.
And he describes it seems complicated, but he described it in such an easy way that you can then gauge your own level of safety, because that's very, there's a kind of general term, right? But there's also individuals. Some people feel safer in some arenas and some don't. Like there's some people who are going out to dinner as long as it's outside, and some people still won't do that. And so it's about respecting each person's sense of safety, even if you don't understand it.
What do you think about I don't even know if we're there yet, about grieving this kind of loss or this kind of change? I'll give you an example. Saturday night, after our show, I was pretty wiped out. I was emotional, and I had a long week, and I was tired, and I thought, do I really want to watch a movie? I didn't know what I wanted to do, because sometimes now in my new normal, I look at movies and I go, it's like they're touching, they're going to concerts, I can't watch it because it's not real for me now. So I'm having trouble with that one. So it was the weirdest thing. I found this by accident. I loved back in the 90s, Sex in the City. I loved Sex in the City. It was my favorite show. So you know what I did? I watched Sex in the City until like 1 a.m.
That's so
And it was very calming for me. So I found something that would calm me.
It's very, very important to find something that calms you. That is, I think, one of the most important things to do during this time. Even if it works just a little bit, or even if it calms you for a moment, it's so important, because in that moment that you were calmer, you weren't stressed out. So
it's
even
exactly
if you're
right.
stressed out in the next moment, this moment was still just as real. We tend to think that we take a step backwards, or that the prior moment wasn't real because this moment's new.
Right.
But it is. That calm moment is just as real as this new anxious moment.
I like that point. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
I had to really make myself do that. And then I just slipped into this calm, slept really well. And I felt like a slight bit of my old self again, just a slight bit, but it was enough that I needed. So Susie says, I'm grieving the upcoming season change to fall winter. Susie, I feel your pain there. The gray and gloom is coming. I can't handle the rain. I need sunshine every day.
Oh, Susie, you are preaching to the choir. I'm the same way. Sun makes me happy, wakes me up. My favorite color is yellow because of it. And the rain, and it's called, that seasonal
affect disorder.
Yeah.
I do totally understand. That's that. And I'm also now living in the Midwest. I never had a winter or a fall before. Fall was when you went back to school. Oh, that's right. We don't go back to school anymore. Think about it.
Everything. Is so changed. Some people, one person told me that the few things that they used to enjoy to make life tolerable, they can't do anymore. And so that has become a thing to really adjust to. So that's why it's important to find few things. Me, it's music. So I haven't watched TV in I don't know how long, not because I don't enjoy it, but for some reason I'm finding that I don't have the patience for it. But losing myself with music in the background, even doing anything, that's my happy place.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
a
what
good
I've been
one.
doing.
Well,
Yeah.
Susie asks, how do you cope with SAD, seasonal affective disorder, SAD? Let's see. Well, that's a good
I mean,
question.
part of it is accepting it, you
Get
know,
some
like,
lamp.
That's
pardon
what
me?
I was thinking, John. There's that lamp.
There's
Do you-
lamps that
Mhm.
imitate the sun that you need, and
There's
yeah,
a great lamp that you can get. It wakes you up with the sun. And I've had a
Mhm.
lot of my clients order that one online. It's a
Yeah.
terrific one for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say this, but some people do take medication during that time.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's
Vitamin
whatever
D.
works. Part of it is, a big piece of it is just accepting it. When we fight against something or we feel like there's something wrong with me, that
Mhm.
adds to it. But
Yeah.
to accept it, I've got seasonal affective disorder. I get sad or feel depressed
Mhm.
when it's raining or when the sun isn't out, and I feel happy when the sun's out. Okay. Sometimes just accepting it can help.
Mhm.
It's not going to make you feel any less sad when it's raining, as an example, but you don't have to add to that feeling like there's something wrong with you because of it.
It's so funny. When I was moving here from LA, born and raised, and I'm moving to the Midwest, like what? So I met with a friend of James Van Prague's, and I forget her name right now, but he talked about her on the show today. And I had dinner with her, and she said the greatest thing. She lived in Ohio. She said the greatest thing to me. I said, how am I going to deal with this winter? Like, I've never done this before. She said, this is when my soul renews.
Oh.
And I'm going to tell you what, that powerful reframe for me, that was it. And I actually went into a place of now I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. I can't even believe I'm saying that, but it was that soul renewal. It was a mind. I had just changed my mind on that.
Yeah.
And that's
Sometimes
what I did.
perspective is so interesting, viewing it
Mhm.
from a different point of view is so interesting, and it does shift you. I love what Jason is saying, is to cope with SAD, paint your walls a brighter color, change your bedding, add new artwork with bright colors. That is so true.
That's a really good one. And you know what? You can actually use that not only for sad, but you can use that now during this period of time we're in, frankly.
Yeah.
I mean, anything that's going to make you feel better,
I've
alive, alert.
I've always painted my kitchens a bright yellow.
Yeah.
And it's not popular now. It's the modern, more stark, I don't care. That makes me happy. It brightens things up. So thank you for reminding us about that, Jason. Absolutely. Just put more bright colors around you, even if they're just pillows around your bedroom or around your living room.
And hi Eve. Eva says, hi Eva, vitamin D for seasonal affective disorder as well as PF pandemic fatigue. Very good. That's from her husband, Dr. Steve Goldberg. That's fabulous idea. Oh, that's right. So there are some great ideas out there. Thank you, everybody, for that. Wow.
Yeah.
But I'd like to know how everybody's feeling out there. John, does anybody like to call? Or Susie says, I absolutely love the rain and dark days. I'm so opposite of anyone I know, except for my daughter, Susie. My daughter's the same way. She loves the dark days and rainy days. If it rains for days, I get depressed that the sun is coming. What's wrong with me? Oh my God. Isn't the world fascinating that everybody thinks in so many different ways? I love this. This is why you can't assume I'm going to feel this way or you're going to feel this way. You can't assume it.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to me.
That's what makes the world go around. It's our different,
perspectives of everything.
Absolutely.
Everybody's different, which I kind of have to love that.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you another one that people are telling me about, and I have a little bit of this Zoom fatigue. Do you have Zoom fatigue yet?
Oh, me?
Anybody? Come on. I know some of you all have. I mean, well, John, you and I and Shirley, we're all on Zoom all day long.
But I'm so grateful for it too, because it gives us that face-to-face connection that we don't have right now. And
well, I'll tell you what's so interesting. One of these therapists today made this comment. She said that sometimes the clients are uncomfortable with us in their space. Isn't that interesting, Shirley? I thought that was fascinating.
I have a few people that prefer to do phone. And actually, I don't mind the phone. I
Right.
wouldn't want to do 30 sessions a week just on the phone, right? And a few
Right.
people come in, handful of people come in, it's their only outing, and just last week I was thinking, God, this is so nice to be able to be in the room with them.
Well,
You
it's
know, I
not. Oh
miss
yeah, I
it
bet.
so much.
I know, and that's what
Mhm.
they talked about. Yeah, I do.
Mm.
I miss that interaction too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But like, you know,
I miss
as
hugs. Me too, Jessica.
yeah.
Me
Mhm.
too,
But
honey.
as you said, John, yeah, it's better than not having at
Yeah.
least,
Yeah.
you know, a face to face, because we are seeing each other.
Mhm.
So, but you know, like anything else, it's the balance. It's
Mhm.
when it's the only way we can communicate now. There is
Right.
fatigue in everything that we have to do too much.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
Tracy says missing human touch, hugs, every energy exchange. Right on. I mean, of course.
Yeah.
This is just a really, really weird time. And I want to remind everybody on a spiritual note here that we all wanted to be here during this time. So when I start to get bugged or tired or I never slip into that dorsal place, Shirley, but I might get a little like logy, or what's the word, logy? I don't even know what the word is. A little off.
Is that
Melancholy,
what does that mean?
Melancholy. That's
Okay.
the word, melancholy.
which is a hard
Um,
word in itself.
it is. It
Yeah.
is. But I mean, I'm human. I'm going to get into that state. And then
Yeah.
I think to myself, wait a minute, Kelly, you wanted to be here. You literally led the charge to be here. And I know I did.
Mhm.
And we'll get through it. We will all get through this period of time.
Mhm.
Not for the next several
Well,
months, but we will get through it.
that's an important thing to keep in
This is
mind.
not
Is
permanent.
always know that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Mhm.
It may take a while, and everything is different, but that at least helps me to know
Mhm.
that it's not going to be forever.
It's
That
not
if
forever.
people got through world wars, people got through the Spanish flu,
Mhm.
people got through, you know, things, and we will get through this too. So that's an important thing that can be helpful. You know, the same things won't help everyone. And so
Right.
you need to find what helps you. For me, knowing that this is going to end at some point helps me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when
Yeah.
things get tough, it's important to just take one moment at a time, get through, oh, I just got through that moment. Oh, I just got through that moment. You know,
Yeah.
when things feel a little bit easier, get through one day at a time or an hour at a time. But, you know, it's important to kind of slow the pace down and work that way too.
Right. And notice that there will be fatigue. I mean, there's going to be some fatigue time because you do get energy from other people.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And there's going to be that time. And then you kind of might slip into that and you have to pull yourself back up again.
Mhm.
It's a wave. It's like riding out this wave, and it's a long wave. And I've said this many times, but as my mother, who was a psychologist, and who's passed, I always think, God, Mom, like, how would you be doing this? What would you be telling me? And then like all the therapists today that were on this in this event, nobody has the answer for this. That's the thing. Nobody has this answer. My dead mother doesn't have the answer. My mom, if she were alive, wouldn't have the answer. She'd be asking me, how long is it going to go on?
Right, right. Yeah, she would. She would.
She would
But you know
be.
what? It's because it's something different for everyone and something different for ourselves every so often.
Hmm.
It could be 1 week, could be day to day, could be week to week. But I love what you said, Kelly, about you found something that helped calm you down. And it was just watching these old repeats of a show that you used to love.
Hmm.
It's finding what it does. I have someone who started baking bread, and that is her, did not even know she was interested. I can't remember how she got into it, one of my clients, but that's her happy place because it allows her to just kind of escape into them. There's something about the bread, you know, baking bread as opposed to anything else that helps her. So just find it.
Right.
Find
Right.
it.
A lot of people are finding their spirituality during this time, which is really
Yeah.
the whole key to this. If you
Yeah.
can get to a spiritual place,
Yeah.
this really is what I believe what this time period is about, is slowing down
Mhm.
to get to know yourself a little better and maybe work on some of the things that may be causing you some stress. Really start to open up, as you would say, Shirley, be curious about this. This would
Curious.
be the
Yeah.
time to do it.
And it's the little things. I have a new, as I've shared with you, Kelly, I don't think I've sent you a picture, John, but I will.
Mhm.
In the new place that I am, I have this tiny little koi pond. And I've realized how much joy that brings me. And I did not know this, but it has lily pads and it has lotus flowers. And I didn't know that lotus flowers bloom as the sun comes up and start to close as the sun sets. I did not know that. When I look at them, it brings me so much joy, and I'm curious as to what that feels like training the way that I am. And it's an expansion in my chest, a light, an overall lightness. You know how when things are hard or when we're sad, there's a heaviness. So it's a lightness and expansion. And so I'll look at it, and then in the evening, you know, as the sun starts to set, I'll look at the lotus flower, and sure enough, it's starting to close back into a little bud. And that just brings me so much joy.
See?
So
No,
people have to find whatever it is, even the most little thing.
But that's an important thing, because if it wasn't for this time, you probably wouldn't have noticed it.
Exactly.
I mean, you would have been at the office driving. You would have missed the sunset. You would have missed everything.
You are exactly right. I probably wouldn't have noticed the joy that it would bring me.
We were all going really fast. I mean, back in the day before March, really fast. It's going to be interesting when there's a time to, wind up again. I wonder if that will even be the case.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all these things we don't know yet.
There was also so many things that brought us joy that those things have been taken away.
Yeah.
Then we start to notice other things, and we can start to notice the little things, you know. So I think that's, to your point, Kelly, I wouldn't have noticed that had I had other things that brought me joy. Like I would have been, you know me, I would go to concerts all the time and out to dinner with friends and stuff. So I probably would have never noticed the lotus flower and how it opens and it closes. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Shannon says, I'm thankful to be able to connect with others I may not have had without Zooms, especially for my spirituality. She's absolutely right. I mean,
Catherine,
people are talking about, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, Catherine brings up a good point. When you can't go outside, go inside, explore, discover, learn, experiment, ponder.
Absolutely.
I love that.
People are actually becoming closer to people they haven't talked to, like relatives. You know, they have Zoom family sessions now. A lot of my clients do once a week, like every Sunday. And they hadn't talked to some of those relatives in a long time because life was busy. So there's it's important also to look at the positive aspects of it, if we can call them positive, or the silver lining aspects of this. Of this
there
time.
are going to be some silver lining aspects to this. Jessica says, I have so much more joy now than I've ever had. I'm very grateful for this time, even though it really sucks sometimes. You know, I feel the same way. I mean, I have a lot of joy. It does suck sometimes. I mean, it's...
Yeah. I think for me, it's provided so much work. So I haven't slowed down whatsoever, and I'm working more than I ever have when, so
me too.
That's one thing to be grateful for, but at the same time, I think I'm using the work to supplement everything, I don't want to say workaholic, but you know what I mean? Like I'm spending all my time doing the work instead of the personal stuff in many ways because
So it can kind of view it from a different perspective. It teaches you balance. It's trying to teach you balance, because too much of anything is not always great, even if it's something that we would consider positive. Right? Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we've got a caller on the line here. Let's see, our first time caller, I think. Can we have your name, please, and where you're calling from? Area code 847.
Hi, my name is Magdalia, and I'm calling from outside of Chicago. How is everyone tonight?
Hi, what a great name. Good. Outside of Chicago. How can we help you tonight?
Well, my husband passed away 4 months ago now from cancer. I've been a stay-at-home mom for about 20 years, and I was taking care of him through his illness. Things are starting to settle down now, and I'm wondering if you could help me, give me directions on what do I do now with my life.
What's your birth date?
3/30/63.
Okay, it's so interesting. A lot of souls passed like right before COVID hit, because they didn't sign up for this. They didn't sign up for this period.
On April 15th.
Yeah, tax day, huh? That's kind of significant. I mean, it's interesting. So, and so a lot of souls have left during this time, and we're going to see more of this happening actually now. So, and so that makes you, what, 57? Is that about right? 58,
Yes,
57?
yes,
Okay.
57.
Well, you come in, your birth placement, you're a Six of Clubs, and Six of Clubs comes in for spirituality, to know their truth, to know balance. I can understand that you were a stay-at-home mom. That would make sense for you. But you also come in to learn all about not just spirituality, but you want to, it's like you need to learn your truth. Like whatever is really important to you in this lifetime, you need to just start to discover it. Now is the time actually to start to discover what you want to do. With this placement, you can do anything. Do you have any work experience, or do you want to write or teach or do anything like that?
I do have a bachelor's in computer science, but things have really evolved since
Well,
since I got my degree.
yeah, no, then they have. Well, now for you would be a time, first of all, you've just gone through a lot. If we just start with that piece, just lost your husband and it's during COVID and you've got kids, and it's an awful lot right there. Why don't you give yourself, if you can, a little bit of time to have to take care of yourself during this time. But on the other side of that would be maybe thinking about your future with going back to school, taking some classes, learning whatever interests you. Now for you, this would be a good time for that. That these are the kind of
Okay.
things that for you for now is a good thing to do. I would start now. I'd start now. Start looking kind of. You're really bright. There's nothing you can't do. Again, you're going to have another act again, and I want to give you hope on that. This is your next act. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're
I'm so
welcome.
excited that I got to talk to you girls.
Me too.
Thank
But
you so
you'll
much.
get through all of this. You'll
Yeah,
keep
just be
keep
gentle
going.
with
Be
yourself.
gentle on yourself. You just
Mhm.
went through a lot.
Yeah, grieving is never a linear process. So
No.
yeah.
I have a feeling you're going to get very popular with whatever you decide to do.
hmm
You're a good soul.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for
Thank you for
calling.
calling in. Stay in touch with us, okay?
Yeah.
Wow.
We will do.
Yeah. So we're getting a lot of thank yous. So Tracy says, I thank God that you all are working. It's made a huge change in my life, a positive, wonderful change.
Oh,
Thank
thank you,
Tracy.
Tracy. So sweet.
Thank you,
Tammy is
Tracy.
saying that I started listening to this program at the start of shutdown here in Alberta, March 13th, and I've learned so much about spiritual reality. Spiritual reality. I love that actually.
I do
Spirituality and
too.
spiritual reality. Yeah. Who I am. And it's given me the strength to deal with everything. I now know we are all connected and I get it. So thank you all.
Oh, Tammy,
Aw,
thank you
Tammy.
so much.
Rebecca's saying grateful for you
Oh,
guys. Yeah.
thank
But we're
you.
grateful
Thanks,
for all of
Rebecca.
you.
We are exactly. We are so
Yeah.
grateful for all of you
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. We
I
wouldn't
mean,
be doing this.
we would not, all three of us wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
Wendy says, I have become closer to myself. Go, Wendy. Something I would have never done before. We should address that. Good for you, Wendy.
Yeah.
Closer to yourself. I love that. I enjoy being with myself. How fabulous is that? What a great statement. You
Yeah.
have all showed me that looking inside yourself is where healing begins. I could never thank you all enough. Oh, thanks, Wendy.
Aw.
So sweet. But it really does, this is the time to go within
It
and
is.
really figure out what you like, what's good for you.
Yeah.
I'm into soups. I've been making soups. Every day I can make a different soup. It
Oh,
doesn't
that's so
matter if that's
funny.
110 out. I still make soup. Yesterday I made gazpacho. Today I made vegetable. I have a problem. I have a soup problem.
A soup problem. That's
I do. I have a
hilarious.
soup
Well, soup is
problem.
comforting, so that makes
That's
sense.
probably
Yeah.
right, John. And plus, I
Yeah.
have all
Yeah.
these great farmers that bring me all their produce. So I'm
Mhm.
Oh,
really
well,
grateful
that's
for that.
completely worth it. Yeah.
I mean,
And
I find
Anna,
that
thank
I'm
you for your comment.
grateful for this time. This is I am grateful for this time.
Yes, thank you, Anna, for the comment.
Yeah.
And
I think it has
Natalia for calling.
really kind of, I hate to use the word forced, but challenged us to slow down. And that, I think we can always be grateful for that piece.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Boy, it really has. And Nina says, I've learned so much from all of you over the years and have made some amazing friends. Thank you. Love you guys. Oh, thanks, Nina. We love you too.
We love you too.
It really is an interesting time, Shirley, I guess, to turn
Mhm.
this ship back up again.
Yeah.
It
Well,
is can be an extraordinary time for all
it's
of us.
like anything else, it's important to balance it out. You know,
Yeah.
it's very important to be realistic. I always say validate the feelings that you're having because they're already
Yeah.
there, but we don't have to get stuck in them. You know, if we notice that we're feeling either sad or depressed or anxious or, you know, because of what's happening, life feels so not familiar, because that's what it is. What we're calling normal is
Yeah.
really what it means. It's familiar,
Yeah.
you know, and the brain likes what's familiar. And so notice that, but don't get stuck there. Validate it because it's important. It's already there, but also bring up the things that it has brought.
Maybe
you
it's
know,
our new
that are
routine.
more positive. Yeah.
Maybe that's the word, our new routine instead
And
of
maybe
normal. There's nothing
causing us,
normal about it.
yeah, well, causing us to become a little bit more fluid
Yeah.
in adapting,
Mhm.
Mhm.
you know, because the nervous system can become very rigid.
And there you go. The new adaptation. That's a good one. The new adaptation.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Susie's saying the show and the Zoom calls have given me a whole new set of friends that I quickly felt comfortable with and
Oh.
could truly be myself. Thank you all.
Oh, that's
Thank you,
wonderful,
Susie.
Susie.
And
Thanks,
Susie's
Susie.
referring to our group meetups that we do right after this show and also on Thursdays after Kel's, we do the spiritual connection show. And then we also do impromptu pop-ups. So throughout the week, you'll see one that pops up and just watch the group for that because we do host these Zooms. And these Zooms go 5-6 hours, sometimes longer.
Wow.
I mean, they're, I'm not
Not me,
kidding.
Shirley. Not me.
I'm not kidding.
No.
They go, I mean, people pop in and out, you know, but we're there holding space for one another. And really, it's helped us all through it. It's given us a chance to, you know, socialize and also talk about our spiritual journeys and feel in a, you know, safe place to discuss it without thinking you're some crazy person, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And feeling connected is an important, important thing during this time.
Yeah.
And connection can feel, you know, of course, we all enjoy the touch connection where we can, but any kind of connection is good. It's important to feel connected and not isolated during this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then some other important shows to watch that address this as well that we've talked about in the past is the ambivert, extrovert, introvert show, because everyone, like you were saying, is reacting differently to this situation and is really hitting hard with the extroverts, you know.
It is.
Yeah.
It is hitting hard with them.
And then the left brain, right brain connection show we've done as well. That's another good one to watch for this. So.
Yeah. And it's funny, some of the introverts are really thriving. I mean, we've talked about this before. They're thriving during this period of time. And the extroverts are having some difficult times with this. And I know couples are having difficult times with this. I know that everybody's trying to work on themselves, trying to gauge this situation.
Yeah. It's important to, you know, the brain will kind of, you can trick the brain quite easily, actually. You know, it's like the brain is so likes familiarity and predictability that even when, you know, they've done research, when you look at something and it's not completely finished, the brain will finish it for you. Like if you look at a circle that's missing a piece, your brain will view it as a complete circle, you know, as an example, right? So what I've been suggesting to people is trick your brain. If, you know, the routine of going to work, we don't realize how helpful it is in the sense of on your drive, you're preparing for work and stuff. On your drive home, you're preparing to go home and stuff. So trick your brain and go for a drive around the block before you start work in the morning and do it again at home. Or, you know, for couples, when you're saying couples are having a hard time, pretend you're going out to dinner, get in the car, go for a drive, come back, and, you know, already have your placemat set up with a candle and stuff. Trick your brain into different things like that. It'll feel different to the brain, you know, different in the sense of different of the routine that we have now where we're not doing any of that, and familiar because it's what you used to do.
I do that every night with virtual reality.
Yeah.
Trick my brain all the time. And I'm telling you, that has been such a godsend during this time as having virtual reality, because I can go to the beach, I can be everywhere, you know, I be underwater, swim with the dolphins, I can just do anything, you know, with virtual reality. It's amazing for special with this going on. Yeah.
That is so interesting. Well, create your own virtual reality.
Yeah.
You know, trick your brain, pretend, oh, let's go out to dinner. So set it up before, get in the car, drive a few blocks, come back, just trick your brain into doing the stuff that you really used to enjoy that people are missing so much, and it's creating, added stress. Of course, it's not going to be the same, but
Yeah.
Not a bad idea.
it'll be helpful.
Oh, Susie. Yes, you do. You need to get this to get you through the winter. She was talking about her SAD. This would definitely help her
Yeah.
through that. For sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
She'll be at the beach every day.
Yes,
virtual
most
reality.
definitely. And with other people, because you can socialize with other people while you're there. It's not just a solitary experience. It's pretty amazing.
Really? And is this people like that are also there in virtual reality?
yes.
Or is it computer
yeah.
generated people?
It's all computer generated people. They're all, in avatars, but there's a real person behind every avatar, and we're all in the same virtual space, sharing the same scenery and the same experiences. It's pretty amazing.
Wow. So that's what I mean. So it's people who are real people who represent the avatar. It's not like a computer generated
Right,
avatar
exactly.
with
It's
no real
not-
person behind
Yeah.
it.
So in the gaming world, those are called NPCs or non-player characters. These are actual real people. So
Mm.
there's no non-player characters. These are all real people that are in the same space with you. Yeah.
Wow.
It's
That's
amazing.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like having a party in your living room and then take your headset off, and then you're, back to, as you say, the new adaptation. So
I'd like to read the research on that. As
Well,
far as
I'm telling you
the brain is mimicking the same thing.
right. And it's very therapeutic for people who have social anxiety, agoraphobia, various different personality disorders. It's really been very, very effective in treating. Yeah.
I wonder, well, I guess because the avatar, behind the avatar is a real person, I guess there would be avatar personality disorders.
Oh, yeah. Well, the way I explain it, it's like, there's certain people, it's not a game, it's using video game technology, but you're bringing your essence, your personality is shining through that avatar. So your heart is still there. And it's sometimes easier for people who maybe not are comfortable with being in their body. So do you know what I mean? So they get to pick something that represents themselves or who they want to be in a fantasy type of world. Some of them do avatars that look very similar to them as well. But it's a chance for you to really connect without the physical getting in the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Well, that could help a lot of people.
Sure
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
At least to feel some kind of connection.
Mm-hmm.
That's an important piece too.
Yeah.
Well,
And they have wonderful meditation apps and things like that as well. So it's really good for
That's-
development.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Notice what helps, again, just like you noticed, Kelly, calm the nervous system just a little bit and do a little bit more of that. Add it to your daily routine or weekly routine. Every little bit helps during this time.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Yeah, it will.
I can't believe a whole hour's gone by.
I know. And we're ending on
We
time.
just started. I know. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we'll be back on Thursday, right, Kel? We're going
We
to
will
do
be back on Thursday.
Yeah.
Ask me anything.
for the Ask Me Anything spiritual. Let's
I love that.
stipulate that it's spiritual.
Or you can ask me recipes. I
So,
got a million of them in my head.
and boy, they're good. That pizza
Oh, I do make
still
good
goes
pizza.
down
Mhm.
as the best pizza ever.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Yeah.
Well, I've been perfecting
I've
my
never had
pizza.
your cooking. I'm gonna have to. You moved
Oh,
away
John.
before I had a chance to have it. So.
Oh,
One day you guys will be here and I'll just cook for everybody.
Kelly's
Yeah, that'll be
cooking is beyond.
It's
so good.
legendary.
It's legendary. It really is.
See,
All
that makes
right.
me laugh. There you go.
But it is.
Thanks.
I remember I repeated that pizza and I've made it a few
I
times. It
know.
was so good.
It is good.
Yeah.
All
And then
right.
there's Claire Gustance, so that's taste. So you ever
Mhm.
your mediumship abilities.
Sometimes when I
cooking,
do a reading, some of the recipes do come through out for me that
It's really
people have
interesting.
made. Oh yeah, I've
Yeah.
had that a lot actually.
Oh,
And then I learned
part of that.
Claire Alience is smell. So there's a difference between Claire
Oh.
Gustance and Claire
Mhm.
Alience, or however you say the word. Yeah.
It's
One
funny.
is smell, one is taste.
It's funny you say that, John, because one time that happened to me. Somebody was telling a story and I smelled the smell that the story would tell. And I even questioned myself. I'm like, am I really smelling that? Because there's no way I can. And I did. It was unmistakable.
Yeah. You gotta love
Wow.
that when things like that happen.
Mm.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thanks everybody.
yeah, thank you all for listening.
Thanks,
We
everybody.
really love that you're getting so much out of this. That's why we do it. So thank
Mhm.
you so much.
Yeah. Be good to yourselves and each other.
Yes.
All right.
See you next week.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now, featuring the unconventional duo Dr. Shirley and Kelly Wine. Two perspectives, one world.